The night she decided to stop being a victim, the rain hadn't stopped for 3 hours. The small American town of Crestwood slept under the heavy sky, streets shining with reflected neon and distant thunder rolling like the growl of something ancient. But Elena Morgan wasn't asleep. She stood in front of her broken mirror, staring at the face that no longer looked like a girl's. Not after everything she had endured. Her eyes were swollen, half from crying, half from the bruises that had never been allowed to heal. Her hands trembled, but not from fear. Fear had burned out weeks ago, leaving behind something colder, sharper, and far more dangerous. Something she didn't recognize. Her breath came out uneven as she whispered to her reflection, "They think I'm finished, but they don't know anything about me." There was no one to hear her. No mother. No father. No friend left who hadn't betrayed her. And definitely not the man she once loved, Eric Dalton, the boy who ruined her life because destroying her made him feel powerful. But it wasn't just him. People stood by. Watched. Laughed. Enjoyed the spectacle of a girl falling apart. Tonight, Elena was done falling. She wiped her tears, tied her hair back, and picked up the voice recorder she used for her college assignments. She pressed the button, letting her voice flow, calm, low, steady. "This is my story. And if you're hearing it, I want you to know, revenge is not anger. It is justice for those who were denied it." She placed the recorder in her jacket and stepped outside, letting the cold rain wash over her like a baptism. A new life began the moment she stopped caring if she survived. Elena wasn't always like this. She once believed in gentle things, sunlight through windows, music on long car rides, the warmth of friendship. She believed in people. She believed in love. And most dangerously, she believed in trust. The betrayal didn't happen in a moment. It unfolded like a slow poison. It started her junior year of college. She was smart, quiet, and deeply ambitious. She wanted to be a journalist. She wanted to expose the truth. She wanted to make the world better. But the world she lived in wasn't interested in the truth. Especially when the truth made powerful people look guilty. Eric Dalton was power. Not the kind that comes from education or talent. The kind that comes from money. The Dalton family owned half the town, from the banks to the college donors. No one dared to cross them. So when Eric set his eyes on Elena, everyone expected her to feel lucky. She didn't. But she was raised to be polite and kindness can be a girl's greatest weakness. She rejected him. Twice. He didn't like that. And the night everything started, the night the lies began, Eric was drunk, angry, and surrounded by people who worshipped him. Elena remembered fragments. His smirk. Her fear. His friends recording. Her voice begging. His words whispering against her ear. "No one will believe you." And nobody did. Not the police. Not the college. Not the friends she trusted. The video they leaked was edited to make her look guilty, desperate, unstable. Suddenly she was the villain. Eric was the victim. She lost her scholarship. Her job. Her reputation. Her future. And worst of all, she lost herself. 4 months, she lived in silence. Then she disappeared entirely. Until tonight. Tonight she returned with a plan carved from pain and sharpened by time. Crestwood was a town that slept early, but Elena didn't care about the sleeping. She cared about the one person who never slept, Marcus Hale, the hacker who lived 3 blocks from her childhood home. He used to be her friend in high school. Quiet. Strange. Brilliant. And the only person who ever saw her without judgment. When she knocked on his door past midnight, he opened it half asleep, but the moment he saw her soaked in rain, fists clenched, eyes burning with something haunted, he knew. "Elena, what did they do to you?" She didn't cry. She didn't break. She just whispered. I need your help. Marcus stepped aside immediately. Inside his dim room filled with wires, screens, and the soft hum of machines, Elena laid out everything, every detail, every lie, every humiliation. She spoke in a voice that didn't shake once. Marcus listened. His hands curled into fists at every sentence. Elena, tell me what you want. Her answer was simple. The truth. And after that, consequences. Marcus nodded slowly. If we do this, there's no going back. I'm not going back, she whispered. Not ever. That night, the two of them formed a pact. A pact to bring down Eric Dalton. His friends. His family. His legacy. Everything. Not by violence. But by their own truth. The truth he tried to bury. The truth she nearly died for. Marcus began decoding the corrupted video. Elena began gathering evidence no one had cared about. Old texts. Old photos. Witnesses who were silent but shaking with guilt. People who had seen something but were too afraid to speak. Every secret of the Dalton family slowly surfaced. Fraud. Bribery. Illegal deals. Assaults covered up with money. Records erased. Lives destroyed. Eric wasn't just one monster. He was the face of a family of monsters. Elena's revenge was no longer personal. It was justice. Pure, unforgiving justice. But revenge is never smooth. And monsters do not die quietly. By week 2, Elena noticed shadows following her. Cars parked outside Marcus's house. Threatening messages. Anonymous calls. They knew. Someone was watching. Marcus told her to stop, to hide, to escape before they came for her. But Elena wasn't afraid. Not anymore. She stared at her reflection again that night, bruises fading, eyes sharper. You took everything from me, she whispered to the invisible ghosts. Now I'll take everything from you. And she meant it. The following morning, Crestwood woke up to sunshine as if the world hadn't shifted overnight. As if Elena hadn't crossed a point of no return. As if a storm wasn't quietly building in the veins of a girl who refused to stay broken. Elena sat on Marcus's sofa, sipping black coffee. She hadn't slept. She didn't need sleep anymore. Sleep was a luxury for people who had nothing to lose. Marcus was typing rapidly at his keyboard, his eyes glued to multiple screens where lines of data, servers, and recovered files moved like a digital battlefield. Elena, he muttered without looking up. You should see this. She moved closer. On the screen played a series of emails. Deleted ones. Emails hidden in the Dalton servers, financial transactions, bribes, hush money payments. Elena's eyes widened as she scrolled through the digital graveyard of all the sins they buried. This isn't just corruption, Marcus whispered. This is organized damage. They've destroyed people for years. Her throat tightened. How many? Marcus clicked a folder labeled victims. Inside it were dozens of files of the photos, police reports, medical records, girls and boys who had been bullied, assaulted, silenced, run out of town. Some had left Crestwood forever. Some never survived long enough to leave. For the first time since the night she lost everything, Elena felt a tear roll down her cheek, not for herself, but for them. This isn't revenge anymore, she said, voice trembling with cold fury. It's justice for all of them. Marcus nodded. I'll help you bring everything down. But we have to be smart. The Daltons have their eyes everywhere. Elena stood, her fists clenched. Let them watch. Let them listen. I'm not hiding anymore. That evening, Elena walked through Crestwood as if the streets belonged to her. Fear had once wrapped around her like a noose, but now it was gone. In its place was purpose. As she walked past Dalton Square, People looked at her with whispering eyes. Some recognized her. Some pretended not to. Some looked at her with guilt, those who had watched her fall and said nothing. Elena didn't look away. Let them drown in their shame. As she crossed the street, she heard a familiar voice. Elena? Elena Morgan? She stopped. It was Hannah Burke, once her closest friend, before she betrayed Elena to protect her own image. Hannah stood there, perfectly dressed, makeup flawless, but eyes uneasy. Elena, you're back? Elena didn't smile. Wasn't planning on disappearing forever. Hannah swallowed hard. The memory of her betrayal sat heavily between them. Elena. I'm sorry. I should have believed you. I should have. It doesn't matter now, Elena said. You made your choice. Hannah stepped forward cautiously. People are saying Eric is looking for you. Please, just be careful. He's dangerous. Elena's voice carried no fear. He should be careful. Not me. Hannah stared, surprised by the heat in Elena's tone. The Elena she remembered was gentle. Soft. This one was sharp like a blade forged in fire. Elena, what are you planning? Elena started walking away, voice low and steady. Justice. Hannah didn't follow. Some people weren't meant to walk with her anymore. Marcus texted her later that night. Meet me. I found something bigger. Elena rushed to his place. Marcus opened the door before she knocked. His face was pale. Elena, they're laundering money through the college. Her heart stopped. What? Donations, scholarships, construction funds, fake accounts everywhere. And there's more. He clicked another file. Eric Dalton, psychological evaluation. Sealed. Hidden. Confidential. Marcus hesitated. Elena, if I open this, everything changes. Open it. The report unfolded on the screen like a nightmare made official. Eric was diagnosed years ago with narcissistic aggression, violent tendencies, lack of empathy, and a history of coercive behavior. Multiple complaints, teachers, ex-girlfriends, swept under the rug by his father. Her breath grew cold. They knew, she whispered. His family knew he was dangerous. Marcus nodded. And they protected him. Again and again. Elena stared at the screen, her pulse growing calmer, more controlled. Rage didn't shake her anymore, it fueled her. Marcus, leak it. He froze. Now? Elena, this isn't just exposing him. This will destroy the entire Dalton family. That's the point. Marcus looked into her eyes, the fire burning there, and he understood. The girl he once knew was gone. In her place stood someone carved from her own ashes. He pressed send. The file launched into the digital world, sent to journalists, forums, anonymous whistleblower sites, student boards, national hotlines. A spark had been lit. And Crestwood was soaked in gasoline. The next morning, chaos erupted across town. Students crowded around phones. Teachers whispered. News headlines flashed. Dalton family under investigation. Psych eval leak raises questions about Crestwood's golden boy. Victims come forward after years of silence. Eric Dalton stormed across campus, shoving people aside, rage twisting his face. His power, once absolute, was slipping. And he knew exactly who was responsible. Elena Morgan, he roared in front of everyone. Where is she? Heads turned. But Elena wasn't hiding. She stood on the steps of the library, watching him with eyes that didn't blink. When he saw her, something in him cracked. He pushed through the crowd until he stood inches from her, his voice dripping venom. You think you can ruin me? Elena didn't step back. You ruined yourself. The crowd gasped. Eric grabbed her wrist violently. But before he could tighten his grip, security rushed in, because on every phone in the crowd, Eric's aggressive outburst was being recorded. He realized it too late. He let her go, but his voice trembled with rage. "This isn't over." Elena whispered quietly, "It is for you." That night, Elena couldn't sleep. Not because of fear, but because she knew this was only the beginning. Eric wouldn't fall quietly. His father wouldn't fall easily. There were still secrets buried deeper. And she wasn't done. Marcus worked all night, uncovering more files, hidden phone recordings, transaction logs, blackmail evidence. For every sin they found, another pathway opened. Elena sat beside him, calm, steady. "Marcus, we need more than leaks. We need proof that can't be ignored. Something so big even the Dalton money can't cover." He looked at her. "Do you know what you're asking?" "Yes. You're asking for war." Elena nodded. "Then let it be war." War didn't arrive with a scream. It arrived with silence. The kind of silence that settles into the bones of a town when it senses something dangerous approaching. Crestwood felt it. People moved differently. Spoke softer. Eyes lingered too long on shadows. And in the center of that silence stood Elena. She walked through the morning air with calm steps, each one quietly erasing the memory of the girl she used to be. People watched her, not with pity this time, but with something closer to awe. Something closer to fear. Stories were already spreading. Elena Morgan exposed the Daltons. Elena has evidence. Elena isn't afraid of them. Power was finally shifting. But power attracts danger. And danger found her sooner than expected. Marcus called her at 9 a.m., panic threaded in his voice. "Elena, don't come here. Someone broke in." She froze mid-step. "What?" "I stepped out for 20 minutes. When I came back, everything was searched. My desk. My hard drives. My notes. They were looking for the files." Her pulse slowed, not from fear, but from calculation. "They didn't find anything, right?" "No," Marcus said. "I hid everything in a cloud vault before I left." "But Elena, they're getting desperate." Good, she thought. Desperation makes powerful people stupid. "Meet me at the old train yard," she said. "We're switching locations." Marcus hesitated. "Is it safe?" "No," she answered. "But safety isn't part of this anymore." The old train yard lay on the edge of town, rusted tracks, broken windows, graffiti layered like old wounds. It was the kind of place where forgotten things lived. Perfect for two people who no longer belonged to the world they once knew. Marcus arrived first, carrying 2 laptops and a backpack filled with wires. Elena arrived a minute later. He stared at her, dark hoodie, determined eyes, unapologetic posture. "Elena," he said quietly. "You're changing." She didn't deny it. When something breaks, it doesn't come back the same. He nodded. "Then let's finish this before it breaks you completely." She looked at him, serious. "Marcus, this won't break me. It already did. I'm just rebuilding what's left." It wasn't strength. It wasn't resilience. It was transformation. Elena wasn't surviving anymore, she was rewriting the script. Marcus opened his laptop and projected files across the dusty wall of the abandoned room. "Elena, I found something bigger than we expected." He clicked a file. A document appeared, signed contracts, timelines, money transfers. Her breath hitched. "This is a federal construction contract," she whispered. Marcus nodded. "Exactly. The Daltons have been laundering government money through fake companies for years." He opened another folder. "And here's the proof, forged signatures, inflated invoices, shell corporations. All connected to Eric's father." Elena took a slow breath. "This isn't just corruption. This is federal crime. Marcus exhaled. If we leak this, the FBI will intervene. The Daltons won't survive it. Elena shook her head. Not leak. Not yet. Marcus looked up, confused. Why not? Because leaks can be buried. Manipulated. Twisted. We need something undeniable. Something that forces them to expose themselves. Marcus frowned. Like what? Elena stepped closer to the projected documents, her eyes narrowing. Like a trap. That night, Elena did something she never imagined she'd do again. She returned to Crestwood College. Eric Dalton's territory. His kingdom. His stage. A place where she once walked with dreams and walked out with scars. Now she walked in with purpose. The hallway lights buzzed faintly. Posters fluttered on the walls. Students whispered when she passed. Some looked away in guilt. Others looked at her with silent apology. She didn't need their validation. She needed information. Elena headed straight to the journalism room, the one place where truth had once lived before fear replaced it. Inside, Professor Adler sat alone at her desk, marking papers. She looked older than Elena remembered. More tired. More cautious. When she saw Elena, she froze. Elena. I heard you were back. Yes. You shouldn't be here. The Daltons? I'm not afraid of them. The professor sighed. I know what they did to you. I always knew. Elena stared, her voice tightening. Then why did you stay quiet? Professor Adler lowered her eyes. Because they threatened my family. My job. My daughter. I was a coward. Elena didn't respond. Silence answered for her. But Adler suddenly looked up, desperate. Elena. I can help you now. Elena's eyes narrowed. Why? Because I'm done being part of their lies. Adler reached into a drawer and pulled out a USB drive. What's on it? Elena asked. Security footage from the night of your incident. Unedited. The college buried it. But I kept a copy. For a moment, Elena forgot how to breathe. You kept it? Adler nodded, ashamed. I wanted to do the right thing but never found the courage. Elena took the USB slowly. Then give me the courage now, Adler whispered. Elena swallowed the emotion tightening her throat. Thank you, she said softly. Then she turned to leave. Adler spoke behind her, voice trembling. Elena, you're about to start a fire. Make sure you don't burn with it. Elena didn't look back. I already burned. Now it's their turn. When Elena returned to the train yard, Marcus stared at the USB with disbelief. Elena, if this is what I think it is. It's the truth, she said. Everything they tried to erase. Marcus plugged it in. The footage loaded slowly. Elena stood still, unable to blink. She watched herself on the screen, scared, crying, cornered. She watched Eric, aggressive, towering over her, mocking her cries. She watched his friends recording. She watched her own humiliation replayed like a ghost she wasn't ready to face. Marcus clenched his jaw. Elena, you don't have to watch this. Yes, she said, voice tight. I do. The footage ended. Elena wiped her face with the back of her hand, not tears of weakness, but tears of resolve. This goes public, Marcus whispered. The whole town will explode. No, Elena said. Not just yet. Marcus stared. Elena, why are you waiting? She took a deep breath, her voice low and steady. Because revenge isn't just exposing the truth. Her eyes burned with cold fire. It's making them confess it. Marcus froze. Elena, how do you plan to make the Daltons confess? She looked at the dark, empty train yard as if she could already see the future unfolding. By taking everything they care about. Their reputation. Their money. Their control. Their lies. Her voice dropped to a whisper. And when they're desperate enough, angry enough, terrified enough, they'll reveal the truth themselves. Marcus stared at her. This wasn't just revenge anymore. This was strategy. Precision. A girl who once trusted the world was now ready to dismantle it piece by piece. And she wasn't done. Not even close. The night Elena chose to end it all, in the way it deserved to end, Crestwood's sky was darker than she had ever seen it. No stars. No moon. Only the quiet heaviness of a town that knew something irreversible was coming. Elena stood in the empty train yard with the USB drive in her hand, feeling the weight of every life the Daltons had destroyed. The cold wind wrapped around her jacket, lifting strands of her hair like invisible fingers. This ends tonight, she whispered to herself. Marcus locked his laptop and turned toward her, face tight with concern. Elena, are you sure? Once we do this, there's no way back to who you were. She shook her head slowly. I'm not going back. I haven't been that girl for a long time. He swallowed. Then tell me the plan again. Elena inhaled deeply, voice calm, steady, almost frighteningly controlled. We expose everything at once. Every file. Every recording. Every secret. Not in pieces. Not in leaks. All of it, broadcasted live. Marcus nodded anxiously. Elena, this will put the whole town into chaos. That's the point, she said softly. Chaos is the only thing that forces truth into the light. She looked at the abandoned office building across town, the Dalton Foundation headquarters. Her battlefield. Her final step. We're breaking into their servers. And they're going to watch it happen. At 1:11 a.m., Elena stepped inside the Dalton Foundation. The security guard had been bribed not with money, but with the truth, a footage of his own daughter being harassed by Eric years ago. He stepped aside quietly when she entered. Be careful, he whispered. They won't go down easy. Elena's voice did not tremble. Neither will I. Marcus stayed in the car, hacking into the security feeds, disabling cameras one by one as Elena walked down the marble hallway. The server room is on the second floor, Marcus whispered through her earpiece. 2 guards inside. Armed. Are they moving? No. Just waiting. Probably, expecting someone. She closed her fist around the USB. Good. Marcus paused. Elena, why is that good? Because I want them to see me. Elena reached the glass door of the server room and pushed it open slowly. 2 guards stood in front of the main panel, intimidating, strong, hired by men with money and fear. One of them stepped forward. You can't be here. Elena stared straight into his eyes. I'm not here to ask permission. The guard hesitated, because something in her look made him step back unconsciously. The kind of look someone gets only after losing everything, and therefore fearing nothing. The second guard whispered, just let her through, she won't get far. Elena smirked faintly. You'd be surprised. She walked past them, inserted the USB into the master console, and looked right into the security camera, because she wanted Eric to see her. She wanted his father to see her. She wanted every Dalton alive to watch the girl they tried to break walk straight into their empire and set it on fire. Marcus's voice cracked through the earpiece. Elena, they're coming. I'm seeing movement on the lower floors. It's them. Elena, it's Eric. She didn't flinch. Let him come. The files began uploading to every public platform Marcus could access as news networks, whistleblower channels, forums, student groups, social media. Data poured out like a flood. Financial fraud. Laundered money. Buried police reports. Victim statements. Bribery trails. Hidden footage, including her footage. Everything. And then a heavy set of footsteps echoed behind her. Eric. Elena didn't turn yet. She let him walk closer, close enough to see his reflection in the server glass. His voice cracked with rage. You think any of this will matter? My family will bury it. Elena finally turned to face him. No, Eric. Your family buried too many things. Not anymore. He stepped closer, eyes wild, aura unhinged. You ruined my reputation. My future. My life. Elena didn't step back. You ruined your life the day you touched me. The day you lied. The day you laughed while I cried. Eric grabbed her arm with fury, but before he could tighten his grip, she didn't pull away. She didn't panic. She didn't fear. Instead, she leaned closer and whispered. Look behind you. Eric froze. Confused. Angry. He slowly turned. Behind him, 3 federal agents stood in the doorway. Guns lowered. Badges raised. Eric Dalton, one of them said calmly, you're under arrest for assault, fraud, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Eric's face lost all color. What? No, you can't, my father. Marcus's voice whispered in Elena's ear. I sent everything to the FBI 30 minutes ago. They had enough proof to move in immediately. Eric screamed, lunged toward Elena, but the agents restrained him, shoving him to the floor. His voice cracked into madness. You ruined everything. You hear me? Everything. Elena stared down as he fought uselessly against the cuffs. No, Eric, she said softly. You ruined me. I just returned the favor. Eric's father was dragged out of bed that night too, cameras flashing, reporters shouting, neighbors watching. The entire Dalton empire crumbled in hours. Corruption. Fraud. Federal crimes. All exposed. The town of Crestwood woke up to a different world, one where power didn't protect predators anymore. One where people whispered Elena's name not with pity, but with respect. With fear. With awe. She didn't celebrate. She didn't smile. She simply walked out of the Dalton building, into the cold night, and breathed for the first time in years. Not as a victim. Not as a survivor. But as a woman who had taken back her voice. Marcus ran up to her, breathless. Elena, you did it. It's over. She shook her head softly. No, Marcus. It's not over. He blinked. What do you mean? Elena looked at the dawn rising over Crestwood. For years, I wanted revenge. Tonight, I got justice. She reached into her pocket and turned off the voice recorder she had been carrying since the night she returned. But justice isn't about ending someone else's story, she whispered. It's about finally beginning your own. Marcus stared at her. So what now? Elena exhaled, slow and deep, like she was releasing the ghosts of her past. Now. I live. And for the first time. Truly, honestly, quietly. She walked away. A girl who entered the darkness broken. A woman who left it unbreakable. Her story didn't end with revenge. It ended with rebirth ***.